So, Brian Carlin, OBR for Team Vestas Wind. So where I'm sitting right now is actually the toilet area in the boat, or the heads. And the night we hit the reef on the 29th of November, I was actually in this area. Now, thankfully, I was finished my business on the toilet, but I was standing up, and what was going on was I got this rash from all the salt water. So I'm putting Sudocrem on myself. So I only had my underwear on because I'd taken most of my clothes off to put the cream on. And obviously the next thing happened, and you wouldn't believe it, at about 7:30 on that evening we hit the reef, and I immediately went from standing here to, and you're going to have to follow me with this one, through the air. We're about 2.5 meters, 3 meters, probably about 4.5 meters over here, where I landed pretty much on the floor beside the sails. And that's when I discovered we hit the reef. Which wasn't, obviously, I didn't think at the time it was a reef. I thought it was a whale or something like that. So I quickly put my underwear back on and ran up back through the galley to have a look out the hatch to see what was going on, which I'm going to show you now. So come with me. So once I got my clothes back on me, I came back into this area, and now at this stage the boat was moving quite violently. And I had a quick look out the hatchway to see what was going on, and it was just white water everywhere. I didn't really know what was going on, but I knew we were definitely on something. So there's a little red button up here that's a crash button, which records off the stern camera where you've seen that footage where we actually hit the impact. But if I didn't hit the button, we wouldn't have the footage. So it gets better, because not only when I hit that, I then have to copy it. So while this was all going on, all the guys were, getting sails down and trying to get the boat in some sort of kind of shipshape kind of state. And I was back down here, and I'll show you what was going on down here. So here we go. It's kind of dark. So down here is the media desk. After I hit the crash button, I came back down here and came down to get my laptop to get the footage, which was fundamentally important. But the seat's normally here. I just took it out because it's easier for you guys to see. The water now, at this stage, had started coming in the aft section. When I was looking back here, the rudders, which were there, were gone. There was a load of water. I could see rocks starting to come through the back of it, and the water was starting to pour over here. And just underneath, just out of shot there's two Mac Minis where they have all the hard drives for all the footage of what I actually hit that button. So I'd come back here and try to find the laptop. So I was sitting here on the little seat in my underwear in like half a foot of water, trying to copy all of this footage so we could share it with you, or God forbid someone found it and it didn't end so well for us. And I remember the guys coming down. Wouter was here on the nav desk, and he was calling in to race control and sending out maydays. The rest of the guys were getting flares and survival suits together, which was quite funny. So Sicho runs down to me and chucks a Musto survival suit at me. He says, "Put the thing on, put it on." I was just like, yeah, but like, it's fine. The water's warm, would be grand. But they were obsessed with me putting on the survival suit. So while the laptop was still working, copying all this footage, I was here trying to put the survival suit on. But I wasn't really aware of what was happening at the time, to be very honest. I was kind of more concentrating on just getting this footage before the drives got filled up with water. So afterwards, when I got my suit on, went up on deck and went, oh my God, this could go quite bad. And then it really hit me where I said, ugh, this could go either way tonight. And I remember Robert Salthouse said to me, put the camera away, this is no joke, this is really serious. And I didn't know what to expect at that stage. I didn't know where we were, what was happening, but everybody else was doing their job, so I just continued to do my job. So I just kept filming, and that was kind of how it all happened. Don't ask me why I did it. It just happened that way. So that's kind of the story of the first probably 2 or 3 minutes of the crash. Yep. Okay. So we'll show you. So naturally, when I had all my media main objectives done, I took the camera up here on deck, and well, what I saw wasn't pretty, but we'll just go up on deck and I'll show you. So at this stage of what happened was probably 10 minutes in. thereabouts. The boat actually had went from directly onto the reef to spinning 180, so the bow was facing out towards the waves. The boat was kind of up at an angle. It's a bit exaggerated now, but it's just to prove it, kind of make a point. It was like this, but the waves were coming in on top of us. They were coming over the bow and into this cockpit area. And what people don't realize was that we had probably 6.5, 7 hours on the boat that night before we actually jumped off. When we got pushed back the reef during that period of time, enough for us to make a safe enough escape plan out the back. But during this time, we had the crew up here. We were trying to get water out of the water tank because we didn't know where exactly we were, what sort of facilities were going to be on the island or this reef we were on. So we were up and down, but most of all, every couple of minutes you get these massive waves, and I'm not lying to you, you literally had to bear hug winches or pedestals to hold on from this impact. And that continued for probably 6 or 7, certainly 6 hours, to the point where it got so bad towards the end, the aft section behind us was pretty much just flopping off from the Traveller back. And it was just decided that it was just too dangerous for us to be on the boat anymore, and it was actually safer to jump over this 6-foot gap onto a reef and into a life raft. And the only reason we kind of went into the life raft was because the Coast Guard rang us and told us, don't be walking around the water at night time, there's sharks in there. We've had quite a lot of shark attacks recently in the area, so needless to say, I was the first one in the life raft, and that was it, done. And the guys tied us off a big rock that we found close to the boat, and we had to stay there for probably 2.5 hours until the sunlight came up and we could see Alvi Medica in the distance. And then at about 5:45 in the morning, the Coast Guard came and a 20-foot fiberglass fishing vessel and picked us up. But we actually had to push our life raft probably 60 or 70 meters to them instead of them coming to us, because the water was too shallow for them to get in with their boat. And that's kind of what happened after that. It was a recovery process, and we'd spent 2.5 days on the boat, or on the island, and with the boat, taking all of the diesel and hydraulic fuel off it. And eventually a supply ship came from Mauritius, and they picked us up and brought us back to the mainland. And from there, we got to finish the story. And thankfully for now, the boat ended up going for testing in Malaysia, and it eventually ended up in Persico Marine in Italy. And with that, the guys in Persico did an amazing job, and with the timeline they had, we'd 16 weeks from when it arrived and when it left again fixed. But what you see here is actually the original deck, and forward is the original deck, and it's only from kind of the main pod back is a new part that Multiplast built for us, and we stuck it all together in Persico with a brand new hull and a new rig, and 16 weeks and we made it to Lisbon, which you got to hand it to everybody involved. It was an amazing feat, and everybody said it wasn't possible, but you know, you put your mind to anything can be done. So really happy now to be back. It was a short last 2 legs, but we got here against all the odds, and that was the main point of it.